But I wish you didn't have to go.
So today we are gonna react to. Let's react to top 15 mysterious.
Number 15, the plane crash.
Okay, so this ain't too bad.
Damn, hang on, Ronnie!
On August 10th, 1984, two men were departing from Granby, Colorado en route to Jeffco but never arrived. 3 years later, the wreckage was discovered by some backpackers, and they reported it to authorities. Among the wreckage, they found a damaged VHS tape which contained footage of the crash. The 6.5-minute video was recorded via a VHS camcorder mounted on the instrument panel. The tape was so badly damaged that pieces of the tape were found hanging on the trees, though it was repaired by Colorado authorities. They concluded the pilot, James Cadell, had not taken into account the rising terrain which led to the crash. He attempted a steep right bank, but the plane stalled 3 times. Quite possibly the most chilling part is when James yells to his only passenger, Ronald Wilmont, to hang on just moments before they hit the terrain.
Damn, hang on, Ronnie!
Number 14, Stephen McDaniel.
That's creepy stuff.
Mercer University School of Law classmates Lauren Giddings and Stephen McDaniel were neighbors and friends, but what Lauren didn't know was that Stephen was obsessed with her. For months he had been filming her from her window, using a camera attached to a 6-foot-long stick. With graduation soon approaching, Stephen couldn't stand the fact that he would never see Lauren again. On the night of June 26, 2011, he broke into Lauren's room wearing a mask and gloves. He leaped onto the bed and grabbed her throat. During the struggle, Lauren ripped off the mask, revealing it was her friend. Stephen later confessed. She said, "Stephen, please stop." He didn't let go for over 15 minutes. After being caught, the video evidence was found on his computer, and clips were released to the public. Stephen has shown remorse for his actions, but doesn't expect forgiveness from Lauren's family. District Attorney David Cook later said, "I fully expect Stephen McDaniel will spend the rest of his life behind bars." Number 13, the Stockton arsonist. In Stockton, California on August 15th, 1989, an overheated car pulled over to the side of the road on Interstate 205. The driver decided him and his son should walk to the nearest phone for help. Not far from the car, he noticed a jacket on the ground. Upon picking it up, he discovered an unlabeled videotape in the pocket. He took it with them, and after returning home, they watched the VHS. They turned it over to the police immediately afterwards. The cameraman was standing not far from a house completely in flames while whispering to himself. Captain Frank Curry was assigned to the case, and even he was disturbed on how eerie the video was. He said they watched the tape hundreds of times, and what baffled them the most was the cameraman's comments about Omar. They figured this man had a revenge motive for the arson, but they could never confirm who Omar was. Investigators went to the spot where the videotape was first discovered, and the jacket was amazingly still there. After searching it, they found items that led them to believe the...
Okay, guys, so it looks like Omar did something to him that that the killer wanted to do. I'm not sure about him. He looks like a devil worship or something, which is kind of bad.
Cameraman was a devil worshipper, including a wooden pestle and a ceramic skull. Despite these new clues, they still had no leads on the arsonist, or even the house that was burnt down in the tape. The house was believed to be one story with 2 chimneys. Clips were eventually released to the public, and it was only when the tape was shown on the TV show Unsolved Mysteries that the house was identified. Located in Redwood City, about 80 miles away from where the VHS was discovered. On the night of the fire, the Woodside Fire Captain also recorded the burning house, and once the 2 videos were compared, it was a confirmed match. Redwood City Police Detective Mark Polo already had 2 suspects. Both were youth. One is seen in this clip wearing a mask. After interviewing the pair, they admitted to starting the fire, and one was sent to juvie while the other was committed to a mental hospital. The only mystery that remains is, who was Omar?
Your house is next!
Number 12, the abandoned mine accident.
Oh god.
This is going to America's Funniest when somebody falls. That's a good idea. Alrighty. Oh, that's on the table. Don't touch that.
Abandoned mines are defined as sites where mining activity took place, but proper mine closure procedures never took place. This means that many forms of potential danger can be found inside one. This footage was filmed on July 8th, 1998, in an abandoned mine in Utah. A group of boys are exploring inside. As one of them films it, they eventually find a rope that leads down to the main shaft, and they begin to question how they will get back up if they do decide to go down.
Down to the main shaft. Wow, so we're climbing down this rope. Yeah. How far down? How are we getting?
Oh no, never mind. This is only 19 years old.
Trade up and save up to $300 at Samsung.com.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it, but I don't have it. I don't really use it.
Getting out of it. Climbing up it. I see. Oh, this is exciting. Who's got bad rope climbing skills?
Me.
I've climbed ropes before. And there's a little ledge you can how far down does it go?
They estimate that the rope leads down about 30 feet. One of them eventually decides to try climbing down.
It's all like this. Is it off now?
No, please don't. Is this where things go bad?
Yeah, but how many get back up?
This is where things go bad, probably.
Hey, good. Give you my belt, stretch on.
Oh, wait. Did you guys not see that? Oh, no, wait. Let me put this slow-mo. Yeah, if you check, look at the rope. Look at the rope on the bottom. You check it. Look at the rope. Look at the rope. I don't know why. Look at that rope. If you guys did not just see, the rope right there looks like it just broke off. Did you not see the rope? Yeah.
One of them films it. They eventually find a rope that leads down to the main shaft, and they begin.
Yeah, but how many get back up?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this, but that rope down there looks like.
Give you my belt, stretch on.
The rope broke off.
Adam!
Within seconds, the rope breaks, sending the boy falling as his friends scream his name. Adam ended up falling 65 feet, knocking him unconscious, but amazingly, he was still alive. He had to wait for hours in pitch black while emergency services attempted to rescue him. This video should serve as an example as to why you shouldn't explore abandoned mines. Number 11, Lost in the Catacombs. Located in Paris, France, the catacombs hold the remains of more than 6 million people in a network of tunnels. First established in 1738, nowadays it's a tourist attraction, but major spots are blocked from public access for various reasons. This doesn't stop urban explorers from exploring them, and in this case, that decision had serious consequences. A video camera was discovered on the ground by a group of explorers, and the fate of its owner remains a mystery. The videographer records as he explores the catacombs, filming the signs painted on the walls over bones. This continues for roughly 40 minutes before the person starts walking faster and faster. Soon he begins to run as his breathing gets louder, clearly scared. He stops multiple times deciding which way to go. At this point, it's apparent he's lost. He eventually drops the camera in a panic, and after hitting the wet floor, the man's feet can be seen as he runs off.
Oh, he looks like he doesn't want to be there.
The camera keeps recording until the battery dies. A group of cataphiles, who knows the tunnel networks very well, searched for 12 hours trying to find clues of the man's whereabouts, but found nothing. This has made people question the authenticity of the tape, but no one has come forward with more info to this day. Number 10, Yuri Lipsky.
Wow.
Hole is a popular diving location located north of Egypt in the Red Sea, dived almost on a daily basis. It is about 300 feet deep.
This
On
doesn't
April
look so good.
28th, 2000, Russian diving instructor Yuri Lipsky took the plunge into the depths of
This
the Blue
was
Hole
May
along with a camera.
28th.
As he continues going deeper, it sounds like he says help at one point. But at this point, he could have easily returned to the surface.
Wait, I'll even put it slower on that one so that you could hear me.
Continues going deeper. It sounds like he says help at one point. But at this point, he could have easily returned to the surface.
Dang, that did
He
say
continues
help,
descending
but you did
quite
not just
fast,
hear. It said
roughly dropping at about 100 feet per
help.
minute. At 81 meters or 265 feet deep, he finally checks his computer, but since he is diving with standard air, he is already suffering the effects of nitrogen narcosis. At this depth, one commenter says it's the equivalent of downing 8 martinis. The further he goes down, the worse the effects are. There's been cases of people removing their regulator and offering it to a fish from the effects of narcosis. When he
Oh my
reaches the
gosh.
full depth of the Blue Hole, it's clear that the regulator is not in his mouth, and he begins to panic, eventually becoming entangled. Yuri never returned back to the surface,
Oh,
and this footage
God.
was found when he was. A Redditor goes into great detail about everything that went wrong, and the link can be found in the sources. But to summarize, it was a combination of nitrogen narcosis, oxygen toxicity, a single tank, improper gas mixing, and overweighting. Even with the mistakes this diving instructor should have never made, it's a very sad situation and outcome. Number 9,
I don't-
Ricardo Lopez.
Okay, I'm ready to roll.
What?
The manager's downstairs. That's a problem.
The 8mm tapes are documented.
There's nothing wrong with having a crush on a celebrity, but becoming so obsessed to the point you lose touch with reality is when a person needs serious help. Ricardo Was A Shot. There's nothing wrong with having a crush on a celebrity, but becoming so obsessed to the point you lose touch with reality is when a person needs serious help. Ricardo was a shy, socially reclusive man who coped with his feelings of inadequacy with women by becoming entranced with celebrities. In 1993, he became obsessed with Björk, an Icelandic singer. He gathered as much information on her life as he could, and as time progressed, he lost complete touch with reality. In his diary, he wrote of fantasies of inventing a time machine to return to the 1970s to become friends with her. His diary eventually reached 803 pages in length. 3 years later, while living alone in Hollywood, Florida, he read an article saying Björk was in a relationship with fellow singer Goldie. This caused Ricardo to feel betrayed by the singer, which made him extremely angry. He wrote about his fantasies to punish Björk. Ricardo started a video diary, which would reach 22 hours of footage about his plans for revenge. When Björk and Goldie's relationship became more serious, he concluded that he had to take Björk's life. He constructed a device rigged with sulfuric acid in a hollowed-out book which would be sent to Björk's house, appearing from her record label. On September 12, 1996, he began filming his last diary entry while preparing to mail the device. After returning from the post office, he covers himself in grease paint and takes his own life on camera. 4 days later, the police department entered his home and discovered the tapes. Upon viewing them, they contacted Scotland Yard, who intercepted the package safely. Without Ricardo's knowledge, Björk and Goldie had ended their relationship only days before he sent the package. Björk later said she was very distressed by the incident. Number 8, Amber Takara.
Yo, where are we going? No, this is
The
Are
back.
you fucking kidding me?
Missing Indigenous women is a serious problem in Canada, with
Oh my
statistics
gosh.
citing as high as 1,100
That is
missing
a
over the
lot.
past 30 to 40 years. In 2010, 20-year-old mother Amber Takara got into an unknown man's vehicle in Nisku, Alberta. It appeared she vanished and was never seen again. 2 years later, the RCMP released an audio recording they found on which Amber could be heard talking to her kidnapper.
Yo, we're not going into the city, are we? We're going. No, we're not. Yeah. Then where where these roads going to?
The RCMP believes that instead of taking Amber north, he took her southeast. The man on the tape was never identified, and the tape was released hoping that someone would be able to identify him. The RCMP refused to disclose how they managed to get this recording in the first place, but the CBC says her brother had called her. Since her brother was in a correctional facility, the call was automatically recorded. If you know anything about this case or the whereabouts of other missing Indigenous women, please email mmiw@cbc.ca. Number 7. Down the hill, two girls in their early teens were walking down an abandoned railway line in Indiana before they disappeared. Liberty German was posting Snapchats of Abigail Williams along their walk. She also took a photo of a strange man who they believed were following them. When the girls did not return to their pickup spot, their parents reported them missing. Sadly, a day later, their bodies were found not even a mile away from where they were dropped off that day. Upon searching their cell phones for more clues, police found a video recording, and it may lead to whoever committed this horrible act.
What?
While the actual found footage is longer, only 3 words were released to the public. The quality of the audio is quite low, but the authorities are hoping someone will recognize this voice. The mysterious man on her Snapchat story is the main suspect, but he still has not been identified. If you know anything about this case, the tip line number is 844-459-5786. You can remain anonymous if you wish. Number 6. Station Nightclub.
Oh, it's smoke.
On February 20th, 2003, the band Great White was playing a show at the station. On February 20th, 2003, the band Great White was playing a show at the Station Nightclub in West Warwick, Rhode Island. During their song, Desert Moon, the tour manager set off spark-spraying pyrotechnics, which ignited the acoustic foam surrounding the stage. Since the foam is highly flammable, the fire grew large very quickly, as a dark carbon monoxide and hydrogen cyanide smoke filled the club. In less than a minute, the whole stage was up in flames, and the band quickly fled the club through the west exit. The majority of the crowd attempted to flee through the main exit, which caused a stampede. 462 people were in the crowd, and over 100 lost their lives. Sadly, it was reported a bouncer stopped people from exiting through the west exit like the band, saying the door was for the band only. The cameraman managed to escape and recorded from outside as the entire building was up in flames. The band manager who set off the pyrotechnics was sentenced to 15 years, but only served 2. The nightclub owners...
Now what was that? Finding a tape like that, guys? Share it with me.
say they did not give permission for the band to use pyrotechnics, but the band said otherwise. Number 5. Ricky Rodriguez.
These fuckers
Ricky.
are abused,
Robert.
beat on, used for
Something
fucking
Ricky? I don't
everything.
know.
I only want it for one purpose, and that is taking out the scum, taking out the fucking trash.
The Children of God is a religious group, often labeled as a cult. Ricky Rodriguez was the adopted son of David Berg, the leader of the group. Throughout his childhood, Ricky was routinely abused, and this led to a deep resentment to both his mother and adopted father. When he reached adulthood, he often spoke out about his childhood, and because of this, the location of his parents were kept secret to him. Living in Tucson, Arizona at the time, he arranged a meeting between him and a former associate of his mother, Angela Smith, who was his nanny and involved in his abuse. The night before, he recorded a video of himself discussing his plans of revenge. He called himself a vigilante, avenging the children who had been subjected to horrible childhoods at the hands of David Berg. There's this need that I have, he said. It's not a want, it's a need for revenge. It's a need for justice, because I can't go on like this. In his apartment, he took the life of his former nanny. He then drove to Blythe, California, before taking his own life on a deserted road. A few days later, a friend of Ricky received this tape in the mail. His mother is still a leader of the group and has not been charged for any of Ricky's abuse. Number 4. Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's
We have no
Gate.
fear. We're proud and looking forward to what's ahead. And we believe all our classmates feel the same way. Actually, they couldn't. You all couldn't really know it unless you had done what we had done and been through what we had been through. But I think you can trust. I guess you could trust our judgment in this.
Led by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles, you may have heard of this cult due to their highly unusual belief system. They believed that Earth was going to be recycled, and the only way to survive was to leave it immediately. How they were going to leave was via a UFO, and the only way to get on was to take your own life, believing the human body was a vessel with the only purpose of helping them on their journey. Days before they were to begin their journey, Marshall began filming their final days. He had persuaded 38 of his followers to join him, saying that a spaceship was following Comet Hill Bob. These tapes were called their exit statements and contained interviews with all of their followers. All seem happy while interviewed, or at least calm, not fully comprehending the reality of their situation. Starting on March 24th, 1997, the followers began eating phenobarbital with applesauce and washed it down with some vodka. Then they fastened bags around their heads and laid in their own beds. 15 members took their lives that day, 15 more did the next, and 9 more the day after that. Heaven's Gate had their website hosted on a Romanian ISP, and they mailed the webmaster their final press release and the exit statement tapes. The Romanian webmaster was only told prior that they were a small monastery with non-traditional views, so it's safe to assume he received quite a shock receiving this package. Though this happened roughly 20 years ago, their website is still active, and apparently emailing them can warrant a swift, polite response.
I'm here to offer you, as these are, an opportunity to know the truth so that if you can connect with it at any level, then you might survive.
Number 3, Soul Fairy Sinking.
좋습니다. 네, 살아서 봅시다. 와, 해경 온답니다. 네, 와, 진짜 나 살고 싶어요. 살고 싶어요. 지금 네, 여기 영상에 많은 걸 남깁니다. 네, 관련한.
On April 16th, 2014, the MV Seoul capsized on the coast of South Korea, carrying 476 passengers, who were mostly secondary school students from Danwon High School. When the sinking began, the captain told the passengers to stay on the boat, and shortly after, he abandoned the vessel. This footage was recorded by two 16-year-old boys, who both lost their lives this day. The passengers can be seen with life vests on, which was instructed via the PA system. As water began entering the ferry, these life vests would cause the passengers to be stuck inside the sinking vessel. The passengers can be heard sending farewells, while others beg to be rescued. Sadly, 304 passengers lost their lives, while 172 were rescued. The majority of those rescued did not listen to the captain's announcements and had left the ferry. The captain was eventually given a life sentence, and 14 other crew members were also charged. Number 2, grave robbing for morons.
Slice, okay, peel it back like that, okay, and you will find the ends of the bones. You will not see the rest of it, but you will only see this part.
This is a mystery that the internet has been trying to solve for a very long time now, with entire websites dedicated to identifying the people behind its creation. In the 1990s, this homemade tape began circulating in VHS trading, with the title Grave Robbing for Morons. The 27-minute video features a teenager explaining pretty much everything you need to know about robbing a grave. This includes how not to get caught, which parts are the most valuable, and various other creepy tips. In the tape, he is holding what appears to be a real skull, which he has taken from a grave. The internet is on the fence about its authenticity due to the exaggerated nature of his advice, specifically about dispatching witnesses.
Never leave witnesses. If you have to knock them out so that way they think it's a dream. It's best not to kill, but if it's necessary, do it.
With others saying the skull he is holding looks too real for the video to be fake, but possibly he doesn't know completely what he's talking about. The video ends with him saying, "If you're watching this video, then you'll know who it was," before throwing up a hang loose sign. How this footage was found in the first place still remains a mystery, and it seems like it's not going to be solved anytime soon. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you've ever been curious as to what I look like in real life, then follow me on Instagram at Dylan one is chillinyt with underscores instead of spaces. I also have a Twitter at YT_chills where I post video updates. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me, and feel free to send me a DM if you have any questions or suggestions. If you'd like to see more of these videos in the future, then hit that subscribe button because we upload new countdowns every Tuesday and Saturday. Number 1, Casey Stuttered.
I'm telling Cassie's family. She had to be the one.
She had to be the one.
Yes,
About what?
On September 22nd, 2016, high school started like just a normal day for Casey Stuttered. Brian Draper began filming her in the morning before class, asking about the whereabouts of Tori Adamkick.
Wait, have you seen Tori?
It's clear in this recording how uncomfortable she looks around Brian. Little did she know at the time about Brian and Tori's sick plan involving her. Later, the pair filmed themselves apologizing to Casey's family for what's about to happen tonight. Casey was house sitting for relatives and was visited by her boyfriend, Matt. Later that night, they were visited by Brian and Tori, and the four decided to watch a movie. Brian and Tori left soon after but had not gone far. The two waited until Matt left before entering the house and took Casey's life with a kitchen knife. Even more disturbing is their reactions, which they recorded after driving away from the scene.
Gosh.
Just killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a fucking joke.
I'm shaking.
I stabbed her in the throat and I saw her lifeless body just disappear. Dude, I just killed Cassie. Oh, fuck. That felt like something real. I mean, it went by so fast.
Shut the fuck up. We gotta get our act straight.
Okay.
Oh my god.
The pair were arrested just 5 days later, and this footage was discovered. Both blamed each other in interrogation, and were each given life sentences without possibility of parole. Their motive was determined as seeking fame, and the only thing Casey had done wrong was befriending the pair. Through analyzing the found footage, it seems like the pair were complete psychopaths, saying their actions shouldn't be illegal because it only makes them want to do it more.
Hell, you restrict somebody from it, they're gonna want it more.
We found our victim, and sad as it may be, she's our friend. But you know what? We all have to make sacrifices. Our first victim is going to be Cassie Stuttered. She's going to be alone in a big, dark house out in the middle of nowhere. How perfect can you get?
Thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to subscribe.
Okay guys, that is it. Well, that is real mysterious footage that has been found. Man, that is so creepy. If you guys want to see some more videos, just make sure you subscribe to my channel. Leave a like. Yeah, just do that. And for the next one, next time we are doing top 15 most scary Fortnite. I love Fortnite, but we're gonna do top 15 most scary Fortnite stories found online. And I'll see you guys all later in the next video. So, see you all in the next video. Bye.